What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Miami Sports Vibes YouTube channel. Jacoby will be with us in just a few moments now. Just give him a couple minutes and he will be joining us. We are here to talk all things Dolphins, previewing the game against the Rams that's going to be happening on Monday Night Football primetime. Touching a little bit on the Buffalo game. Obviously, picking up a loss does suck, but there was a few things that we got to see that we've been dying to see all year. And although it sucks because it came in a loss and a heartbreaking loss, there were still a couple of takeaways that you could probably look to yourself and say, you know what? I'm glad and I'm proud to have seen that. Things could have been worse. We could have went out there and looked like crap. The Dolphins could have went out there and got beat by like 30, 40 points. And it would have been just adding to the misery that we've been dealing with this whole damn season. But Dolphins did put up a fight. And I'm not a guy that wants to, give flowers to moral victories here by any means. But at the end of the day, if you were to ask me, would I have liked to see some good things happen in the Buffalo game and lose, or you want to just lose and score 10 points and get beat by 40 and see Tua throw interceptions left and right? I'm gonna go with some positivity. So I did take away a couple of positive things, but at the end of the day, I mean, a loss is a loss. And like I've mentioned on my recap video, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It is on my videos tab right after the game. You got my raw reaction to it. To me, you know, that loss sunk me down, man, and it made me hit rock bottom. And it's crazy because the Dolphins played such a great complete game on both sides of the football, but just beat themselves when push came to shove. Raheem Mostert getting the ball punched out, like I mentioned. The penalty on Jordan Poyer, the penalty on Chop Robinson before. The Dolphins got in their own way, and that's why they lost. And actually, I just want to pull it up. Like these were the stats after the Bills and Dolphins game. I mean, the Dolphins beat the Bills in passing yards. I mentioned this in my recap as well. They beat them in rushing yards. I mean, they beat them in all of these key categories: the time of possession, like everything. The third down efficiency was there for the Dolphins, 50%. I mean, fourth down efficiency as well. Yards per play, just all out domination. And you look at these stats, and you think the Dolphins will win this game. But what points out is penalties, 8 penalties versus 4, timely penalties at that. And the turnovers, it's 1-1. But the Bills turned the ball over in the first half, and the Dolphins turned the ball in the second half. Second half turnovers are key. Those normally are what, makes or breaks a game. But you saw some great things out of Tua. Tua's completion percentage was absolutely on point. Finally, you got to see an offense moving. Even though Jalen Waddle wasn't a guy who, you expect to see ball out, was a guy that was a complete no-show. But the ball was moving. Tua was just finding other guys, and Tua was under pressure a lot. All right, he tucked it down and ran for a first down, ended up diving again. Nice to see Tua go down. And Tua was just, man, the way he was just handling himself in that pocket, man, just delivering that clutch drive before to tie the game to Jalen Waddle. I thought that was one of the best football drives that we've seen all season as a Dolphin fan, because we've been dying to see some solid offensive play. I thought Tua was delivering, on all cylinders. And you kind of saw those things happening last week. Like, Tua didn't look like he missed a step at all. And, you look at the record. Obviously, you can talk crap about the Dolphins season and the Dolphins record and this and that. One thing you can't say is that Tua's playing bad, man. Tua looks freaking good out there, and it just sucks, and it's unfortunate that we haven't had him all damn season, because if we have, I think we'd be talking about a much different Dolphins team and a much different Dolphins record. But that's what comes with having a quarterback like Tua and his durability issues. These are the things that we signed up for when we drafted him, when we stuck with him, and when Chris Greer, unfortunately, decided not to sign a competent backup quarterback. This is just what comes with Tua. And that I've been banging on the drum about that, man. When it's with me, it's not about Tua and his talent at all, man. Anybody who's talking about Tua and his talent, bro, like, they just don't know ball and they're just haters. And I know there's plenty out there. To me, my stress level with Tua is just, bro, his inability to just stay on the field. Like, I can't trust him, man. Like, dude, I mean, I can't be the only one. When he took it off and ran, you just gasping like, and after he he slid down. You just exhale like crazy. It's like, yo, that's really what we're coming down to. Every time Tua drops back under pressure, you're just gasping and then just a sigh of relief every time he makes it out of there with no injury. That's just sad, man. It's crazy, bro. It's stressful to watch the Dolphins game. Check out these stats from Tua. In his first 2 games since his return, 53 for 66 passing. That's an 80%, by the way. 465 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and a passer rating of 111.4 passer rating. All right. Offense has scored 54 points also in the last 2 games versus 40 total points that was combined in 4 games without Tua. And those games were to the Colts, to teams like the Patriots, to scrub teams, by the way. All right. And Tua is putting up these points against Buffalo and an Arizona Cardinals team who's in first place in their division, mind you. So the impact that Tua has it's real, man. It's a real thing. And it's just unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. But if you're looking at bright spots, all right, guys, if you want to look at bright spots, also, I appreciate you guys tuning in on the chat. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. Please, it helps me and the channel. Sup, Zell, how's it going, my man? How's it going? Salute to you. Salute to you. Who else we got here? We got Bruce Flash. Tua keeps underthrowing Tyreek since he came back. What's up with that? You know what? I have been given Tua praise, but you're right on that. He has been underthrowing Tyreek a lot. We're kind of waiting to see when is that Tyreek and Tua connection going to happen again. See, the thing with Tua is you kind of see this adjustment happening where Tua's completion percentage is high and he is passing it efficiently, but it seems like he is the Mike McDaniel and Tua are worried about getting that ball out quick to make sure that Tua doesn't take any hits at all. Now, that's crazy and it sucks to watch. I get it. But that's kind of what you're going to see. You're probably going to see a little bit of different, Tua to Tyreek connections here. Maybe some underthrows, maybe some quick things. I don't think you're going to see as much explosive plays unless the offensive line gives time. All right. When you're playing against a Buffalo Bills defense, that defense plays super, super, super physical, especially against Miami. I don't understand why they play the most physical brand of football when it's against the Dolphins. You're going to see that. But this matchup, which I will talk about shortly, I think we might be able to see some explosive plays with that Tua and Tyreek connection because we've been dying to see that. And I think it happens on Monday Night Football, by the way. But you're probably going to see a little bit less than that. And that's because they're trying to get the ball out quick. Now, the Dolphins were already passing quick. But now, after what happened with Tua this season, listen, that ball is going to be moving a lot quicker. And that's why his completion percentage is so high. Giannis, Rams are winning versus the Finns. Listen, buddy, I understand that you are a Rams fan. All right. I understand that you believing in your team because they won 3 in a row and you come over here to my channel to talk your smack. I welcome smack talk because we can debate all day long. And I know my team has looked bad, but we are not losing to your damn Rams, buddy. Your defense is not ready for this challenge that we're about to throw out there, man. And I get it. Everybody, it's so easy to beat the team that's down and, make fun of our team. But don't worry. Monday Night Football, Dolphins offense. Yeah, I don't think y'all ready for that offense, man. I don't think you're ready for that offense. But back to what I was saying. Also, the trade deadline was today, and plenty of teams made some moves. I got the whole trade tally here. The trade started happening a couple weeks before. You saw Amari Cooper go to the Bills. You saw Devontae Adams go to the New York Jets, and plenty of teams, started to go all in. The question was, were the Dolphins going to do something at the trade deadline? Were the Dolphins going to just blow it up? That was the talk. Hey, this Dolphins team loses. They're 2-6. Why the hell stay in it? Are the Dolphins going to blow it up? That was the question today. What is Chris Greer going to do? Are some of these guys that he paid big money for, are they going to be on the move? Calais Campbell, who's had an awesome season, is he going to be on the move? Even though his agent shut that down. Jordan Poyer, is he going to be on the move? There were plenty of names to look forward to. Or are the Dolphins going to add somebody and go into even a bigger mess? Quite frankly, to me, man, The Dolphins showed me they're not down to get a backup quarterback. So my thing, I was looking at it as, are you guys going to just shut it down, blow it up, or are we just going to stay the course? And Chris Greer decided to stay the course. I know plenty of people don't like to see that. I'm looking at it as like, hey, at least Chris Greer didn't add anybody. If you're not going to get rid of anybody, please don't freaking add anybody. You got enough talent on this damn roster to figure it out. And if you haven't already, then other things have to happen, like Chris Greer needing to get fired, like Mike McDaniel needed to get fired, but that's neither here or there. So the Dolphins are staying put. And these are the whole trades, man. These are all the big time names that made moves. The trade tally for the 2024. This tweet is from Adam Schefter on Twitter. Marshawn Lattimore was probably the biggest surprise. Probably like just the icing on the cake right here for the Washington Commanders. I thought the Commanders making this move, a team that's already like 7-2 right now, first place in their division, adding one of the best cornerbacks in the game to a defense that's really not that good in Washington and has been struggling as of late. Them adding Marshawn Lattimore, I thought was big time for them. Davante Adams, as we all know, to the New York Jets. He scored a touchdown last week. There are 1-2 since acquiring Davante Adams. They're sitting at 3-6. Time will tell if that's a good move. I think the Jets' problems are way bigger than just the offensive side of the football, though. That's just my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City. I thought that was a big time move. You saw him get into the end zone. So I think that's one of those investments that over the course of time, once it goes to playoff time and late in the season, I think that Hopkins and Mahomes connection is going to be lethal when you're talking about competing in the AFC with the Amari Cooper and Buffalo Bills and with the Baltimore Ravens, who are obviously swinging for the fences as well. They add in Deontay Johnson. So Deontay Johnson of Baltimore, Amari Cooper to Buffalo, which we all know. Mike Williams, traded from the New York Jets to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's going to be a nice little piece for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have been solid, man, playing a hell of they're balling on the defensive end and their offense. There was talk like, what wide receiver are they going to add? They were trying to swing for the fences on a couple different ones from what I heard, but ultimately landing on Mike Williams. It's a guy who's battled some injuries. It's a guy who hasn't looked great. It's a guy who has underperformed based on his potential, which is crazy, but it's a solid guy, man. And Russell Wilson, I'm pretty sure he'll find ways to get him the football. And what else? Preston Smith to Pittsburgh as well. So Pittsburgh adding other pieces as well. I thought this move was big, man. Zadarius Smith from the Browns traded to the Detroit Lions. Listen, Lions obviously losing Aiden Hutchinson for the season potentially. It's a big bummer for them. Obviously, the Lions are a team that I've been high on. I think they could even get to the Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl. Losing a pass rusher like Hutchinson was going to be big time. But then you replace him with a Zadarius Smith. I think that is a big time move. And I think they absolutely, based on the positioning, how I feel about the Lions and how they've been playing and how that offense and offensive line's been balling, for them to solidify getting a pass rusher after losing Hutchinson, I think they won the trade deadline because they absolutely, they didn't fall behind. All right. They know the window is now this year. They're going all in for it. They lost one guy and they replace it with another beast. So I think the Lions absolutely won the trade deadline. Adding Zadarius Smith a couple days before. Khalil Davis goes to San Fran. Jonathan Mingo traded from the Panthers to the Dallas Cowboys. You got Cam Robinson to Minnesota. Tre'Davious White to Baltimore for a 7th-round pick. I thought that was a solid pickup. I'm surprised that Baltimore didn't get Lattimore. I thought they would try to get him, but they didn't do so. They settled for Tre'Davious White, who's had a down year. Plenty of people think he's washed. I don't know if it's just playing with that Rams defense, or maybe things are going to change for him in Baltimore. We shall see. Baron Browning to Arizona. Arizona's been playing solid. Cam Akers, Khalil Herbert to Cincinnati. I thought that was a little solid pickup. Jerome Baker to Tennessee. Ernest Johnson to Seattle. And Roy Robertson Harris to Seattle. So some teams get better. The Dolphins stand pat. But I think the Lions, what the Lions did, what Washington did, and I think it was solid, man. I mean, the Lions to be able to get a pass rusher like Smith in there after Hutchinson's injury, I thought was big time. But we'll see. We will see Cap for life, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna let it ride. That's it. That's it. Giannis says, thank God White got traded. Yeah, he was underperforming for you guys. Jacoby is joining us as of now. Let me bring Jacoby up. My man, what up? What up?
Could have been here 10 minutes earlier, but people don't know how to freaking drive, and freaking police detour took me 10 extra minutes to get here.
Hey, hey, man, it is all good, man. I just was first I was sharing my thoughts on the trade deadline. A whole bunch of teams got better.
Yeah.
Chris Greer decided to stand pat. I said if there's any positive, it's that hey, he didn't add anybody, so he didn't cause a mess. But I'm pretty sure that you probably wanted him to blow some things up, man. What are your takeaways from Chris Greer and the trade deadline, man? Let's get right into it.
I mean, I wasn't opposed to adding some guys. I mean, if you're trying to salvage the season, okay, show me something. But I don't think standing pat was a choice to make. I think you had to pick some sort of direction. Now, I wouldn't say blow up the team completely, but trade at least some of the veterans you have, get some draft capital going into next year, use that towards other assets. I don't think standing pat. I think standing pat was the worst thing you could have done. But it doesn't surprise me. This team has just been a letdown after a letdown this year, and I'm sure you've already recapped the Buffalo game, and that was just the cherry on top for just such a heartbreaking season. But wasn't surprised, but I think he had to pick some sort of direction. Standing pat really surprised me.
Yeah, I was so scared about him trying to go in all in for another big name, and then we're kind of screwed. To be honest, I don't know how I felt. I wasn't expecting him to just have no moves. He's a guy that usually does something, and for him to just say, "All right, we're good with this team." I don't know, man. What does it tell you though? Is it more like the AFC? Does he still think like the playoffs is reachable or what?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think they're gonna, just ride it out the rest of the season and see what happens, kind of thing. Um, I wouldn't say I'm not going to say this team's going to make playoffs, but it's the AFC has underperformed this year, so I wouldn't rule Miami out. And some of these teams that are going to be playing at the end of the year haven't turned out to be as good as you thought they're going to be. So they're probably just hoping on that possibility that they can catch some of those teams off guard. But they're going to have to win out. You can only probably win one more game, lose one more game. So, and I don't see that happening whatsoever. So we're gonna see what happens, but I'm not too confident. I think their mindset right now is just ride it out, see what happens, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, to be honest, that's how I felt. I felt like 10 wins kind of get you in the playoffs. So right now you have one more game to lose. And the schedule looks good, but yeah, it's gonna be a tough task to sit here and ask that. But Tua, man, I was talking a little bit before you got on about Tua's performances, and I did bring up this graph that I want you to see. In the first two games since his return, 53 for 66, 465, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, scoring 54 points in 2 games versus 40 with the 4 games that he missed, man. What are your takeaways from Tua's performance?
I mean, you can't argue with it. That's what he does in this system. The offense has not been the issue the last couple of weeks. A lot of people are going to point at different things that Tua missed some big plays in both games, but I don't think you can complain or criticize any of that. They've scored 54 points in 2 games compared to 40 in the first. You're going to take that any day. So, Tua played with exceptional composure in the game against Buffalo. And I'm going to come on here and say, like, you can't blame Tua. You can't blame. I didn't even think McDaniel had a bad game. I just think the defense just didn't make the right plays. You can't give Buffalo. You can't give them an inch because they're going to make you pay.
Mm-hmm.
So and they did. They had him on 3rd and 14 to get the ball back. Chop Robinson off sides, gives them a manageable 3rd down, 1st down, and then it turns into that long pass interference. That was the game right there. So
yeah. We beat ourselves.
Yeah, and I didn't really think. I think the defense had one bad drive, but Buffalo's Buffalo. They're going to score points. You gotta just do what you can. The one drive where they gave up the 55-yard touchdown run, that was pretty bad. But the way I'm going to say this is, like, if Miami beats Tennessee, they beat Arizona, they beat Indianapolis. This game doesn't hurt. This game doesn't burn like it did. That's what it comes down to. you lost to the 3 easy opponents you should have. And you can argue Seattle now. Seattle looks terrible now. Those are 4 games right there. You know, you're 5-3 losing this game instead of 2-6. That's a huge difference maker right there. So, and that's why we've been saying for the last month and now, like, you're losing the games you had to get a W no matter what. So that's the unfortunate reality.
And this is why I do the show with you, man, because we just think alike, and that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, damn, man, like I'm proud of how this team battled. I'm proud of how they played. I'm proud of how Tua just adjusted. McDaniel, solid game all around. We beat ourselves and we hung in there, but it's like, damn, it hurts more because we just didn't take advantage. And if we went into this game, you know, beating those mediocre teams, then I would be like, you know what, hey, you know, that was a good hard fought game, but it just stings more and it's more heartbreaking due to the situation, you know, that we put ourselves in. And disappointed about the Dolphins. Proud we lost by 3 against the Bills. See, that's what sucks. It's like you wanna. It's like you're disappointed, you're happy, but then you're not, and it's because of the unfortunate situation of, you know, Tua going down with his durability issues, and what Tua displayed these last 2 weeks is just exactly what Tua does, like you mentioned, in the system. Tua is awesome, bro. He is a good player. He's a good quarterback. It all comes down to durability. It's not about talent, and it's just frustrating because, you know, there's nobody to blame but our GM for not having a competent quarterback and, you know, backup quarterback that is. And here we are sitting at 2-6, not knowing, you know, how do you feel going into Monday night?
I'm pretty tapped out, if I'm honest with you. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't plan on watching a single minute of that Bills and Dolphins game. And unfortunately, it was the only game that I had fantasy players playing. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump in. And it got competitive. I was like, okay, they got me. And, you know, it's just, that's just classic Dolphins football. Like, Tyler Bass missing 2 extra points, and then he hits a 62-yard field goal that may have been good from almost 70 yards. Like, that thing was still well in the air when and I just don't understand it. But like I said, you know, the pass interference call on Poyer, or the unnecessary roughness, you can argue that it's clean, but the NFL is going to call that every time. You should know that. To me to Poyer, and, you know, and I just think the Chop Robinson offsides, that was the turning point in that drive.
It was so big, and I feel like a lot of people kind of have swept that under, but not me. You know, I think that it makes it a more manageable play. They don't go for that. They might not go for that home run shot if it wasn't for that. So, and it comes down to those 3 things to me. We beat ourselves. It came with you know, having 8 penalties in total. You know, Chop Robinson, you know, going off sides, Jordan Poyer getting called. That's gonna get called. You got to know that. And Raheem Mostert getting the ball punched out, you know, fumbling the football in the second half. Second half turnovers, come on, man. And you limited Josh Allen to 0 touchdowns in the first half. And then we mentioned on the show, when the Bills get going, they start to get going like it's a damn NBA run, and they scored 3 touchdowns in the second half. Like, these were things that were that they do it all the time to us, man. It freaking sucks.
Yeah, and, you know, we're going to see what this team's made of down the road. You know, we've seen this team come back from 1-7 record, and you know, we don't want to rule out anything. But like I said, a lot of these teams are going to be playing towards the end of the season, have underperformed. That's going to be their best bet to make any sort of noise. But the thing that's going to really irritate me is that this team misses playoffs by 1 game, and they have a shitty first-round pick. So that's going to, I mean, that's why I truly thought, like, Chris Greer's got to pick a path here. You know, you really got to pick a path here. And standing put just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just, it stinks, man. It really stinks. I want to just share right here. So the playoff standings, this is on ESPN.com. Playoff standings as of now, the top 8 teams make it. So the 8th seed currently is the Indianapolis Colts, who we could have beat if we played better. They're 4-5. Bengals 4-5, Jets 3-6, and then it is us with the Tennessee Titans. So we're only 2 games out of a playoff spot, which is pretty crazy.
You beat Indianapolis and Tennessee, you're in there.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you would be 4. Yeah, exactly. You would be the 8th seed right now. But gotta win games. Gotta win games, man. So we're on to Monday Night Football. against the Rams team, who is now 4-4, if I'm not mistaken, and winners of 3 straight games, adding Puka Nacua back, even though he got ejected on some BS, having Cooper Kupp back. Stafford looks good. They have beaten the Vikings as of late, beating Seattle late in overtime. Rams are coming into this game hot, bro, and they're at home taking on the Dolphins. First, before we get into our keys, man, what are your thoughts on the Los Angeles Rams? I know you're a big Cooper Kupp guy.
Yeah, big Cooper Kupp guy. Got a lot of family that are Rams fans. I'm really impressed with the turnaround they have because they were looking like rock bottom after they lost both Kupp and Nacua. They looked pretty much in shambles like we did for that stretch. But really impressed with the turnaround. It's going to be a tough game, tough environment. I think Rams fans show up better than Chargers fans, and we're used to Dolphins fans taking over in LA. So I expect it to be a high intensity game. Monday Night Football. It should be a fun one. But Miami's gonna have their work cut out for them. You got Jalen Ramsey, of course, but who's going to contain the other one? I think LA is going to have a lot of options against Miami's defense, who's not playing well right now.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting freaking game. You got Sean McVay and Mike McDaniels, two of the, most brilliant minds, even though McDaniels sometimes doesn't hold up his end of the bargain compared to McVay. But the Rams, they look good, man. They are peaking right now at the right time. Plenty of people thought that, they might have traded people. There was rumors of Cooper Kupp potentially going to the Chiefs or something like that. And, the Rams are staying pat. So we got our hands cut out for us. So the Rams taking on the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. As you mentioned, SoFi Stadium usually draws in a large amount of Dolphin fans. So I think it'll be a nice little even crowd because the Rams do have some fans, obviously.
Yes.
They're not like the Chargers. So keys to victory, man, in your opinion. I know it's hard to keep doing these, the Dolphins being 2-6 right now. But we got to keep doing it, man. What are your 3 keys to victory to beating the Rams Monday night?
Yeah, my first one is, I don't think you can win this game without forcing a turnover. I think you have to force a turnover. And, Miami doesn't even have the most turnovers forced on defense. And with how bad their defense is playing, if you can get some long drives out of LA and force turnovers to make them come away with no points, I think that's going to be crucial in this one. So I think that's going to be my first one is forcing turnovers. And my second one is get Jalen Waddle involved early. He came in and was an absolute spark in the last 2 minutes of the Buffalo game, just what Miami ended up needing. But he's getting involved way too late. You need to see Jalen Waddle be right there with Tyreek Hill because, I feel like he's just been left out completely of the game plan. So I mean, I feel like if you utilize him in there, it's just going to help Tua have more options rather than just Achane and Tyreek Hill. So that's going to be my second one. Is the offensive line. We spent half this season just thrashing the offensive line, and what a turnaround they've had. For the personnel they have, they've had quite a turnaround. Teron Armstead is ranked the number 1 left tackle right now. And of course, in a season where he's staying on the field and playing to what we paid him for, we're 2-6. So yeah, just of course. So if the offensive line can keep up what they're doing and keep Tua safe, Miami can be in good position to win this game.
I like it. And it's crazy that, for all the talk about the offensive line from, me and you and most of Dolphins Twitter before the season heading in, the offensive line has balled out. And has played solid enough. And it's just unfortunate that we sit here at 2-6. My 3 keys to victory. The Rams are giving up over 225 passing yards per game. I know that's not too much, but this season it kind of is because, quarterbacks really aren't passing the ball that efficiently as years prior. It looks like that for as far as fantasy goes. So I think the Dolphins got to get their passing game going. Obviously, Tua has looked good these 2 games. I think he continues to do so and probably hit on a couple of guys that need the ball more. Jalen Waddle, you mentioned it. The fact that he got going late, I think we need to feed him earlier, just like you said. I think that'll be key. This might be the game where we kind of see a deep ball. We've been waiting for that deep ball, that Tua to Tyreek connection. I know Tua is getting the ball out quicker because of, the risk of injury here. But I think this might be the game that we could see some fireworks. I think the passing game needs to get going. My second key is don't shy away from the run, though. If you see the passing game working and you're doing a lot of things and you get happy, you get excited, Mike McDaniel, please check yourself. Don't shy away from the run. The run game has been working. Achane looks great. I want to see Wright get the ball more. I don't know what else you need to see from him, to not give him the ball more. I'd rather give Achane and Wright touches over Mostert. I'm sorry, it's just is that it's that's how I see it. I mean, Mostert has fumbled the last couple of games too. Give Wright some carries. And my third key, the DB's got to be ready, man. Like we mentioned, bro, you're going against Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams, who can also catch out of the backfield. The DB's got to be ready. I think Ramsey's going to get up for this game. Obviously, playing against his former team, playing in SoFi. He knows these guys. I'm pretty sure he might stick Kupp. But who's going to get Puka? And that man is a stud. So it's got to be a collective unit, and they got to be ready. But I trust Anthony Weaver and this defense because this Dolphin defense, as of right now, has given up the third least passing yards in total yards. So credit to Anthony Weaver and his defense. They got to be ready to play. I like this matchup, man. I'm really excited for this game. I just wish we weren't going into this game 2-6, but I think this is going to be a fun one, Jacoby. How do you have this shaken out?
Yeah, I mean, I have it being a close game, but I still don't think Miami's defense is going to be prepared. I think teams have been just figuring them out too easily right now, and I'm going to say confidently, I just don't think Anthony Weaver is going to be able to adjust against two superstars like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. So I'm going to give the edge to the Rams here. I think it's going to be close, but I think our offense stays on fire. I'm going to have the Rams taking this 130-27.
Oh, I almost got a similar score to that.
Yeah. I just want to say I've nailed the Dolphins score like 3 weeks in a row, just not the opponent's score. So I've been impressed with that.
All right. I'll give you some props for that.
Yeah.
I have the Rams winning as well. Unfortunately, I mean, I really wish and I really want to pick the Dolphins, man, but they just 6 losses this season. I'd rather just pick against and just really be super stoked and happy. Believe me, guys, me and Jacoby are dying for a Dolphins win. We want to talk about a Dolphins win on this damn show. It's been way too damn long. But I got this game being a close game. I think we do see some fireworks. I think the offense does, do its thing. But going against, Stafford, Kupp, Puka, Kyron, and Sean McVay especially, it's going to be a tough task, man. I got the Rams winning this game 27-24. I think the Dolphins lose a close one by 3 on Monday Night Football. I don't think it's going to be the offense's fault. I think it's just going to be too much to handle, and the Dolphins haven't showed me that they're capable of shutting these guys down and, stringing over the timely stops that they need and not beat themselves. And I'm going with the better coach, Sean McVay. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty solid score. At this point, just give us some fun, give us something to be positive about. But hopefully they can pull this one out. If they can pull this one out, they can build some momentum. But they're gonna have some tough ones coming with New York and San Francisco. But we'll get to those when we hit it. But let's see what happens this week for sure.
We shall see. Zell says 27-20 Rams. And let's get into our fantasy football segment. You got some smack talk here from Nando. He says GG's this week, Jacoby. I'm assuming that you lost in fantasy.
Yeah, man. Jordan Love, man. He has costed me 2 weeks in a row, dude. It was, and then AJ Brown got hurt. And it's our league's tough, man. We have a lot of similar records, and points is going to matter in this league. I fell out of first place in our division this week. My team's so nice, dude. But God, Jordan Love got hurt last week and then just played like absolute crap against Detroit. So I'm struggling right now. I think I fell to 5-5. I'm pretty sure. So 5-4. So we're gonna see what happens. But I gotta get something going. I get George Kittle back this week, so that's good. So
yeah, you're Vice City Fins, right?
Yes, Vice City Fins.
Yeah, you're 5-4 right now at the moment.
Yeah. And I don't have Jordan Love this week, so it looks like I'm rolling with Danny Jones.
Oh boy, good luck. Let's get to our stardoms and situms.
Yeah, it just continues to be a weird season, man. Weird season. But,
yeah, it is.
Gonna start with the quarterback situms. This week I pretty much just based them on matchups and volume on each player, but with quarterbacks, I'm giving the first one to Brock Purdy for the 49ers because the 49ers are going to be taking on Tampa Bay, who are bottom 3 in points allowed to quarterbacks, and he jumped into the quarterback 10 and he stayed there. even during the bye week. So I'm going to give the edge there to Brock Purdy for sure. And then I'm also going to hand it to Joe Burrow, who's now the quarterback 5 in fantasy, and they're going up against another bottom 3 defense and quarterbacks against Baltimore, which is kind of shocking. So I think those two will have solid games, and I think they should be pretty easy starts. And then going to the sit-ems, I'm going to give this first one to Kyler Murray. I know he's been on a bit of a tear these last few weeks, but he did jump up to the quarterback 9. But going up against a Jets defense who is still clicking, the defense in New York is not the issue; it's the offense. So the Jets defense sits at number 4 against quarterbacks. So I'm going to give that sit to Kyler Murray first, and then my second sit is also going to be Baker Mayfield. Going up against the 49ers, even though he's the quarterback 2, lost a lot of weapons the last few weeks, and it looks pretty solid against Kansas City, but I'm not going to start any quarterback willingly against the Niners unless they're a top 5 one. So pretty self-standard quarterback sit-ems. And then going to my running backs, he's slated to make his return, and I'm never going to doubt this guy, Christian McCaffrey. He's supposed to be coming off the IR this week against Tampa Bay. Perfect matchup. They're averaging 26 points to running backs. So he's my first start him. I wouldn't even worry about rust. He's a freak athlete. I'm going to start him right away. And then going on to my second sit-em is going to be Kyren Williams. Oh, no, start him. Yeah. Kyren Williams against the Dolphins. We are just struggling against the run still. And we're actually ranked 25th, giving up about 26 points to running back. So I'm going to roll with Kyren Williams for sure. And like I said, he's been getting a lot of doubt all season long. So I'm going to do that one for sure. And then going to my sit-ems, going first is going to be James Conner. Going up against the Jets defense. Again, they're ranked 10th against the running backs. I'm sitting anybody against the Jets for sure. But James Conner's had a solid season so far. He's scored over 14 points the last few weeks. So, but I think he's going to get a rough start against the Jets for sure. And then second one, this guy might be a little shocker because I really haven't really talked to him at all. But he is the running back 19, not solid, averaging about 15 points a game, but had 2 solid back-to-back weeks. But I'm giving the sit to Tony Pollard. I don't like the matchup against the Chargers, especially against a Harbaugh defense. They're ranked 2nd against running backs, so I'm going to sit Tony Pollard if I have him for sure.
Yeah, that Chargers defense been balling too, man.
Yeah, and then going on to my stardoms, giving the first one to my guy, Cooper Kupp. I think Jalen Ramsey is going to be assigned onto Nakua, and I think that's just going to leave Kupp plenty of room to make noise for the Rams. I think he's going to have over 20 points, so that's going to be my first stardom. And then going to the second one is the wide receiver 1, who's making himself quite a comeback, Jamar Chase. Gonna love this matchup. I just had his stats on here, but my phone decided to freeze on me. There we go. He's averaging about 19 points a game. Like I said, wide receiver 1 and going up against a bottom 3 defense. Love that matchup. I think he scores over 30. That's going to be my bold prediction.
Love it. Rival too.
And then my sit-ems, I'm going with Jalen Waddle again until Mike McDaniel can show me that he can get his wide receiver 2 involved. I'm just going to stay away from him, and I don't have much faith in their ability to get him involved right now until I see it. So I'm going to definitely pick him to sit, and I'm also going to sit Marvin Harrison. I'm pretty much sitting anybody against the Jets defense right now, and that's just pretty self-explanatory. That defense is legit, and we know that's not the issue. And moving on to my tight ends. This guy, I picked him to start last week, and he had himself a pretty good week after losing Chris Godwin. He's scored over 20 points the last 2 weeks, and I think he's just going to get the majority of the targets for Tampa Bay, and that's Cade Otton.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be Baker's only reliable target, and I think he's going to just target him nonstop. And even if they're going against a tough Niners defense, you love the volume. So take that one for sure. And then my second tight end, Dalton Kincaid. I've given him a couple starts this year, and he's let me down. He's only averaging about 8 points, but Buffalo's taking on Indianapolis, who are struggling against tight ends. They're ranked 30th, so I think Kincaid gets a good game this week. And then I left my sit-ins pretty similar. I went with Laporta and Ferguson just because Laporta has just been, left out of the game plan, in my opinion, only averaging 8 points, and they're going up against the best defense against tight ends, and that's Houston. And Jake Ferguson, I don't like it just because they lost Dak, and the Cowboys are just spiraling right now. So those are my starting sit-ins. Pretty self-standard, and hopefully I can get back on track this week for sure.
I like it. You picked a couple of my guys, man. I'm feeling good. Kyron Williams, Jamar Chase.
Yes,
question
sir.
here: what's up with Nico Collins? Is he gonna play this week? I did see him.
Yeah, I did see that about that too.
How do you think he's gonna do? You think he's gonna take a little bit, or
I don't know, man. The Texans. I mean, he'll get increased targets for sure. So we'll definitely see. But I think he plays, and yeah, I think he'll get about 10 targets for sure.
Yeah, no Stephon Diggs either. So yeah, that should be big time.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
Hey, before we wrap, I want to get your thoughts on the latest the trades, man. I have up here on the screen. Who do you think won this trade deadline, man?
To be honest with you, it was kind of mid. Nothing really like blew my mind away. But I'm gonna say Washington. Marshawn Lattimore is a huge addition for them, especially for a young team that's going to be making a playoff push. So I'm gonna roll with that. I'll roll with that pick. You got to give it to Washington what they're doing, man. They're doing everything right.
Yeah, and they're just getting started too, which is the good thing to see. I thought Zadarius Smith was a good pickup for Detroit, obviously. Yes. And what do you think about Mike Williams? Putting anything into that?
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot he got traded today, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Mike Williams, just after the injury, doesn't really seem the same to me. I mean, we'll see for sure. But we'll see how he fits over there. But what is it? Pittsburgh's just rolling right now. So
yeah.
I think with Russell Wilson playing at the level he is, I think they can get him. I think they can get him going for sure. So,
yeah. All right. I have a league with Kupp, Collins, and McCaffrey. Damn, that's crazy.
That's tough.
That is crazy, bro. That's looking good, man. Everybody who's had McCaffrey just sitting on IR, bro, on their bench, they're probably so happy right now, man. Who you think wins the game Thursday? We've got Baltimore, Cincinnati.
That's a good one. I'm going to give it to Baltimore, though. I'm going to ride the hot hand there. But that's a good game. I'm excited for that game.
Yeah, I'm excited for that matchup, too. I think Baltimore takes it. Cincinnati, obviously, they kind of shot themselves in the foot early.
Yeah,
now they're playing catch-up and going against the Ravens. That's going to be a tough game. Nando says Ravens as well. But yeah, we're gonna head on out, everybody. Dolphins play the Rams on Monday Night Football. So we will be back next week. Might be a different day and time. Keep it locked into our Twitter feeds. Follow us on Twitter, and we will let you guys know, or just keep the notifications on, and we'll be able to definitely have a recap video for you guys and talk the next game as well. So you got Dolphins, Rams, Monday Night Football. Jacoby and I, unfortunately, have picked both a loss, but hopefully it's a win, and we're talking about a Dolphin win. Make sure to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button to support the show. We will catch you guys next week. Jacoby, changing the pick or Rams?
Nope, I'm keeping it the same. Keeping it the same.
All right. See you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.